Good. How was the weekend? Football? Boxing?
Boxing. What did I do? Yeah, went to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Had Stephen Keynes. He boxed.
Yeah.
He won. He was all right.
See his backflip.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't see the fight, but I saw his backflip.
Yeah, he done it. I was just standing there. I know he does it all the time, but I forgot all about it. And I just stand there and I'm thinking, well, I'll hold these ropes for him, but he had to go the other way. And he's just like, wait a minute. And I think, what's he doing? And I'm like, And he just...
Did you do a run up?
No, he just stands there.
Just whips straight into it.
He just flips over, mate.
I can't do that at all.
Yeah, he boxed really well. Funny thing was, Jamie Sheldon goes to me, before the fight, he goes, I reckon this is going to go 2 rounds. He said, what do you reckon? So I've looked over and I'm like, nah, I reckon it's going to go a round. Well, it went 6. So after the fight, I looked at him, I said, you put you and me together. I said, we still got it wrong. We only got halfway. I said, it was top bastard, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good. Well, Jordan drove me all the way, so that was all right, wasn't it?
There we go.
That one
free ride.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I got a fucking arse ache, but we were back by 11:30.
Was you?
Yeah.
From Newcastle?
Yeah.
How the fuck did you manage that?
Very fast car.
Hi, thank you, bye. Straight home. See you later, boys.
Yeah, no, he done that, and then we left at 8:00, so he got there by 3:30. We stopped once as well, yeah, for a piss.
Driving the speed limit?
Of course.
How have you found it since? So, what I wanted to talk about mainly today was kind of training as you get older, and because you train hard and you hit the weights hard, you don't hit cardio as hard anymore because it's tougher. But tell me about what the difference from your 20s, 30s and 40s and 50s has been with your training and what you found with that difference. So have you found that your energy's been different, and how have you been able to kind of keep up that intensity through the years each time? Because you arguably train harder than anybody my age. So I find that it's always a good testament to you and your kind of work ethic. Even as you get slightly older, you're still able to maintain that level of kind of intensity and consistency. How have you been able to do that, do you think?
Loads of drugs and fast women.
Fast women?
Well, it's funny really because it's just consistency. That's all it's boiled down to. But through consistency, I think for me, it's just trying different things that work for you. So from the age of 15, I started boxing. So never done any weights in my life. Never. So I was just always a runner or a swimmer. I swam for the county. So I've done some sort of exercise one way or the other, always doing running. So I got to started boxing at 15, but it's very aerobic work, isn't it? Like you hit the bag, you skip a rope, you go for a run, and then you get in the ring and someone try and punch your face in. That's basically it. So you have to be pretty quick. But from that age to 27, from 15 to 27, so what's that, 12 years? It was the same training. We were never really educated enough to do, to understand about diet or making weight, or we had to make weight, but our way of making weight was just running and sweating it off. Now you can just do it through food, which is great. And then from 27, I got into weight training more so. But the funny thing was, before, when I was 23, that's the first time I ever done weights.
Was it?
And the first time. And I used to box for Peterborough then. And there was these 2 lads there, and they were always weight training, big buff. And I was quite a light fella. I was a light welterweight. This other kid was a welterweight. And then the kid above him was a light middleweight. So we went to Barnsley training centre. It was a country club, basically. And they got these pec decks, and the oldest one, he was like, oh, and he's pushing away, and I'm looking at him thinking, oh, and he said, put the weight up, and he's gone like this, and he's done it. And then the other kid, he's done it, he's gone, oh, no problem. So I'm like, right, okay, go on, Paul, have a go. And I stood there and I went, I couldn't move. I said, can you take it off? So they took the weight off, and I've gone like this, I managed it, but boom, I've nearly knocked myself out doing weight training. So then with the bar, same scenario. They had the weights on the bar on the flat bench press. I could only just about lift the bar. I was shaking like a leaf on a tree. I was like this. But as time went on, I did different. I read the Arnold Schwarzenegger book. Good book.
The encyclopedia.
Yeah.
The massive thick one. I've got it there. So good, isn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, Danny Wilson, Boxing Science, he's still got it.
Yeah, it's classic.
It's brilliant. Yeah. So I did sets like that, and then I still doing pad work and things like that in my 30s. So that's aerobic and still sparring really to a degree. But then when I got into my 40s, aerobically it's very hard. You just don't have the same spring in yourself. So, and then obviously went into the professional game boxing with my son, and then got in with a nutritionist. So you understand a little bit more about the body function, how it works, how the muscles work. So, and injury prevention, so you haven't got any pains in your joints. And then went from there and just went on to weight training. And then from that, going to a top nutritionist and getting my bloods checked and everything so that I have the right supplements. Because everybody I hear is like, oh yeah, I have multivitamins, I have this, I have that. But I tried that and you don't feel any different until you get tested for what actually is not in your body. Then you can see the difference. So doing that and just keep myself consistent, just a little bit, just topping yourself up basically. So that's what I've and that's how I feel. I feel all right. I feel like 25, but just a little bit slower. Yeah. And I look a bit older. It's all right. I'm actually 140 though.
Yeah, well there we go.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
So on the topic of blood work, because it's been quite important actually. I'm actually going through a blood work thing at the moment. I've got one in the house. Yeah. So I'm testing for low testosterone, see if I've got low testosterone. Yeah. And from somebody like yourself who's had their blood work done, how would you, if somebody was listening to this that might be feeling, I don't know, it could be loads of things, couldn't it? It could be fatigue or could be anything like that. For someone that's listening to this that is debating going to the doctors to get blood work done, as opposed to hiring somebody privately to get their blood work done, what would you say to them? And how important do you think that is to get your blood work done?
Oh, that's everything. If you ain't got no blood running through your veins, you got a rigor mortis.
Well, that is true,
you're in trouble.
Well, that is true.
But the doctors, great. They're like as a general thing, isn't it? It just they check for certain things, but not for others. So the place I went to was Scott Robinson, and unbelievable. He's really good. I can't think. I've forgotten the name of the nutritionist.
Just pull that closer to.
Sorry, I forgot. Sorry, is that all right?
Yeah,
I've forgotten the name of the nutritionist, what they call it. But anyway, I went there and he checked me for absolutely everything, and he said that obviously testosterone goes down when you get a bit older, but also your testosterone drops when you're dropping weight anyway. So I've been told. So I had to. They gave me some tablets, all natural, obviously, to replace my testosterone, and then also vitamin D, which he said, you need a bit of sun. I thought, look at me, do I need the sun really? So there's that, and I can't think what else there was. There was one more thing. I think it is just the testosterone. I'm sort of doubling in on the testosterone, and that's it. I mean, and it's good for muscle recovery. It's good for strength. You feel good in yourself if you can. Well, all bodybuilders do it, don't they? Yeah. So I'm not too educated on it, but I know that if you go and get it done privately, I know it's not cheap. It's probably, I don't know, £200-300 to get your blood checks, maybe more. I don't know. Yeah. But I'm lucky I'll get it at a reduction because I'm in the job I'm doing. Yeah. But when you get it done, at least you know what's wrong with you, and then you can get it fixed. Because the thing is, you can spend £200-300 on a night out and not think nothing of it, or over a month you might pay that on takeaway meals. But there's nothing more important than investing in yourself, is there?
100%, yeah. And I also think as well that just as kind of what you said as well, if you go to doctors, you only look at maybe one biomarker for the problem that you go to. So you've got to go to it's that saying of time is money, isn't it? Because if you're going to the doctors, we all know how hard it is to get to the doctors now. You're waiting a day, 2 days. Technically, if you look at it on a money perspective, you're losing money by trying to get to the doctors. And then you get into the doctors and you finally tell them what's wrong. Most of the time it's over the phone now. It's not even in person. They say, I'm feeling a bit tired, I'm not feeling great. Okay, cool. They'll send you for a blood test, which again isn't instant. So you have to wait at least a day or 2 days to go to there. So you wasted another day. Then you got to wait in a weird hall with other people that are coughing and spluttering. Then you got to get your blood done. Then you got to wait weeks to get your results back. And then even when you ring the doctors, they're like, oh yeah, we've had your results for a week. So you've wasted at least 3 weeks, and they're only testing for one biomarker. The only positive is it's free. The other side of it is do what you've done, is pay privately, and you can do it all online now. There's a website called MediChecks, which I use. They're really good. And I think some individual tests are like 30 quid, but you can get like 4 or 5 biomarkers. This depends on what you think's wrong with you. Or you can get the full shabam for like 200 quid. Granted, it's 200 quid, but you know exactly what's going on. You know exactly what biomarkers are hit, which I think is like 50 plus biomarkers or something stupid on one of them. So even if you don't figure out what's wrong with you after testing one biomarker, there's probably another 40 odd biomarkers that could be the problem. Yeah. So I always recommend it personally. I think it's essential no matter what phase you're in of your fitness and health journey or whatever it is. I think everybody should do it at least once a year. And like you said, just do it. You then get a little report of what's wrong. Right, okay, we need more vitamin D. Then you can spend the money on the vitamin D instead of, again, spending all that money on supplements you think you need from Superdrug or Holland and Barrett.
You're just wasting your money and chucking it down the toilet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so important to do that. And I think no matter what age you are, what your goal is, everybody should do it at least once a year just to see.
Oh, 100%.
It's 100%.
Well, you look at all the top athletes, that's what they do. You look at runners, jockeys, boxers, even snooker players, dart players. I know, you think, oh, but they all, it keeps you sharp. Because the thing is, a lot of people that I've met in the industry, of the training industry, they get to about 40 and all of a sudden, maybe they've been lorry drivers or whatever they've done in their life, physical work, being a builder or whatever. I think, they get that middle-aged bread, I need to get fit now. It takes time, and they want the, all the gear, and then the no idea sort of, they go in, they get all the gear and they go in, but they give up after 2 or 3 weeks. But I think if you train, which if you train 2 or 3 times a week and then just build on it, then you're getting in a routine. It becomes an everyday life. Then yes, okay, you feel good. Then you can start putting in more training and then a diet plan. I'll say diet, but eating healthier. As you get older, like myself, you get to that point where you think, you know what, I feel good. I feel all right. But it's no good starting, when you're 40 or 50, you can do, but I'm one of the lucky ones where I started at such a young age and I didn't know no different, probably because I'm not a very academic person. And all I know is being physical. So I've trained all the way through, and I'm very fit and healthy. So when you look at like the young teens might be watching this, or in their 20s or in their 30s, now's the time to do it. Now, and the thing is, all right, well, I can't do it because I've got to earn some money, or I've got to go to work, or I've got, the thing is, if you're not healthy, you're not fit, you can forget about earning money. You can have all the money in the world, but what good is it if you can't get your ass off the sofa?
Yeah.
And you're tired and you're fat and you got diabetes, you got all sorts of issues. You could have your leg amputated through diabetes, having dialysis, whatever it'd be, which I've experienced with my family. It's not, so what you're doing is a good thing, I think, and it's sort of educating people out there.
Yeah. And I think that's the whole point of all of this, because there's such a fine line between being someone who's on the sofa, being unhappy with their life, not feeling very good, to actually feeling amazing.
Yeah.
And there's such a fine line.
Yeah.
But in people's minds that are on that side, they think the gap is that big, and then there's loads of crocodiles in the water, and then there's like people raining bombs. They think it's impossible. And I just think if I can talk to people like you and people I know, which have kind of decided to take their life on a route of health, wealth, fitness, because everything is all linked in, then, and you can prove that that's possible by doing simple stuff, then hopefully the more people can start to do that. And as I said, it definitely, my experience as being a trainer, the amount of people that think everything is impossible is insane. I've probably dealt with more people that haven't changed and people that have changed.
Yeah.
Because of just the way the world is. And especially in the UK, I mean, I can't speak for other countries because I don't know them as much, but it's definitely a culture thing where we're so routine and habit-based creatures in the UK, where we have to do this by a certain age. We then have to move on to this transition once we get to another age, or we can't possibly do that because that seems a bit too much. Or I'll just do this here. It's just too routine based, and that's a detriment, I think, to the health and fitness world, because when it comes to then trying to add things in like health and fitness, like trying to go to a gym, like trying to eat well, because it's a different lifestyle, it's a different life. Trying to get out of that routine, people will then start to go, oh, I don't know about this. I'm a bit scared about, oh, no, I can't do that. Instantly negative thoughts. And it takes a strong person to then go, do you know what? I'm going to change my life. I'm going to be active. I'm going to start looking after myself. I'm going to get my blood work done. But majority of people don't do that.
Thing is, you're right. The thing is, like everybody, they become institutionalized by their work environment.
That's the fucking word, institutionalized.
That's the word.
That's the
word. Institutionalized. And what happens is, they come into a place and they think, oh, I'll only be here for 6 months. And then after 12 months or a year, they start relying on them walls. And then after that's been done after 2 or 3, 4 years, they're dependent on them walls. And you can't get out of that environment, and then you can't change. And I'm forever telling kids when I go to work, like as I go to schools and teach kids and give them a bit of inspiration, I mean, for me, I mean, this is, I mean, a lot of people will probably look at this and think, oh, that you're lucky. But, I always said the harder I work, the luckier I got. And, you look at someone like myself, I get a lot of people ask me, oh, what do you do? Oh, what do you? Oh, you're really fit, you are. But there's it's no magic to it. It's just being consistent and working. Yeah. That's all it is. It's not a magic formula. It's just doing it. So you think from the age of 8, I couldn't even speak English. Can't speak too good now, but I'm doing all right. So by the time I was 14, I left school. No education, nothing. Worked very hard, but always done my boxing. And now I do boxing, but it's my job and I love it. But, using that fitness, going through that sort of whole journey, I've traveled the world. I've met numerous world champions, worked with numerous world champions, British champions, Commonwealth, European champions. I've been really lucky. It's only this all through boxing. So I've met the Queen of England. I've gone and met the Prince of Monaco just through boxing. And that doesn't seem right to me for a person who's uneducated. Then on Sunday, I went with my wife to watch Creed 3. So I'm sitting there watching Creed 3 and Tony Bellew's in that fight scene. He came to Jordan's wedding. I've had a chat with him. He's a good friend. He's all right. And then at the end of the film, there's David DeMonte, the one who does the MCing and everything. Chat to him. They're on my phone. And who goes to a movie, a big premiere movie, and sits there and says, "Oh, I know that fella. Yeah. Oh, I know that guy." It's very rare, but. Yeah. It's not that I'm any better than anybody else. I'm not. I'm just a normal fella. Go out there, just train. But this is what fitness done for me. Yeah. So all I'm saying is, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's not hard. It's 100%. Not hard. It's only a mindset, isn't it? It's because if it's for instance, if I said to someone, "Can you walk along this plank 40 yards on this plank? Just walk straight." And then walk backwards on. They say, yeah, no problem, they'll do it. Okay. But then if I said to them, right, now you're going to have to do the same thing, but put it 100 foot in the air with no safety net. And then all of a sudden, anxiety would come in. They'd be worried. They'd think, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But they've just done it. So then it's a mindset, isn't it? But if you think, well, it's only on the floor, I can do that. Just do it. Yeah. Why? You're not on this planet long. And I think you got to be with yourself all the time. You can't leave yourself. So look after yourself and be the best you can be. Yeah. Don't blame other people for your lack of enthusiasm or things haven't worked out for you. You can't point your finger at other people. That's you who's got to make that difference. Yeah. It's just like people are probably watching this thing, they say they smoke. Let's say, for instance, they smoke. Now, if you said to them, you've got to stop smoking, it's bad for you. If you said to them, they won't stop because they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you can give them the Nicorette patches and all that. The only way they'll stop smoking is you put 2 Nicorette patches on their eye, they won't find their fags. That's the only way you'll stop. But if they turn around and say to you, do you know what, I really enjoy this, but I want to stop smoking, then they'll stop, because it's a different mindset.
Yeah.
You know, so again, it's all about, you know, pushing yourself. But you sometimes, and we're all the same, sometimes you wake up, you don't feel so good some days. Some days you don't want to go out and do so. You just need to surround yourself with the right people that can push you in the right direction and give you that, you know, that enthusiasm, that belief, that, you know what, positivity. Yeah, I can do it. And it's funny, really, because in my career, all the way through, all I've ever had is negative people. But I'm a different person. I enjoyed that, and that inspired me, because the more people said, no, you can't do that, I'm like, yes, I can.
There's a weird scenario. I mean, if you've got people that like don't say anything to you and you kind of just blend into the background, that's how you know you're not pushing the boundaries of your potential, I think. I think if you have people where, I mean, for example, not the old job I had, but the old job before that, when I worked in retail, I wanted to do fitness, and I was adamant on what to do fitness. But because it wasn't normal and it was a bit out of the realms of the area that we live in, I got a little bit of negativity at the start because it's not normal. It's not a normal job. Whereas there were some people where I worked that didn't have any aspirations to do anything, and they never got bothered. So it's interesting, isn't it, to see that transition between. And that's why I think it's it's definitely a worldwide thing, but I do think it's a UK thing as well. I think we're very, like you said, institutionalized and stuff. I think it's very, this is what we need to do. It's regimented, and don't say boo to a goose, crack on, get a job that you're not happy in. Don't exercise because it's out of the realms of normal. And then even if you do exercise, then you get hate from it. So many people from the gym that are in those groups of people that kind of aren't really very positive. They're just like drinking wine on weekends and kind of having takeaways and stuff. Once one of them decides they want to go and exercise, they're normally met with negativity from their friends because they want to better themselves. And it's only because they're looking at them and thinking, I wish I could do that, but I just can't motivate myself to do it. So the first thing that comes to mind is negativity, doesn't it?
And it's been, again, that there's negativity there, but then you don't just get that. It's you're surrounded by it, by whoever you, again, like you were saying, you know, this country is a bit like, you listen to the Americans, you know, God damn, I can do this. God damn, I'm going to do this.
Positive,
you know? But the British are very reserved, and they'll look at them and they think, oh no, that's not the right way to conduct yourself. You know, we want some parliamentary behaviour here. You know, but why not? If you're good at something, say it. Do you know what I mean? I've been saying to my wife for the last 30 years. I've been saying, I am good in bed, but she ain't having it. She's not having it. You know, the whole 30 seconds is great. But
I have to ask your neighbours.
But it's who you're around. And another thing is, like, even though I was surrounded by negative people that's going to work or, you know, whatever it be, because sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do to get where you want to get, if that makes sense. But I was really lucky. My dad was really sort of, he was carefree. He's like, don't worry about it. You can do this, you can do that. And my uncle, you know, very positive person, and a very educated man, actually. And he always said to me, if you put your mind to anything, you can do it. You know, and I'm thinking, and little things like this, just, I thought, you know what, I can do it. If they say I can do it, I can do it, regardless of what anybody else says. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because if you've got people watching this that drink, smoke, probably do the odd line here and there, and they think, you know what, I want to change my life. I don't want to keep doing this. If you walk into a gym, you're already surrounded by people that want the same thing. So if you're, that's one step closer to where you want to be, you know. But the thing is, it depends on what level you're at, because I always think, with your mind, stay in your lane, mind your business to everybody, and just get on with what you got to do, you know. And it's just learning, isn't it? Because I looked at a thing on Twitter about a week ago, and I used it in one of my lessons for the kids. And basically, and I thought, how deep is that? There's a young lady at college. She walks into her classroom, and the chairs are in a circle. There is a table in the middle with a goldfish bowl with a goldfish in. And she walks in and she sits down. The teacher turned around, and usually the teacher, he's a very nice, loving, caring man. He's very militant, and he's turned around and said, right, nobody talk, nobody move. If you talk or if you move, you will fail this course. And obviously, you know, they want to pass their course. So the teacher gets the goldfish, it takes it out of the bowl and puts it on the side, on the table, and walks out the room. Now, everybody on the circle is looking, and they're sort of hesitant, and they're looking at each other. Well, the fish is going to die. What are we going to do? You know, so after a minute's gone past, a lady gets up and she said, nah, fuck it. She's picked the fish up and put it back in the bowl. Most people are tearful and thinking, oh, I don't want to fail, because they don't want it to be them. The teachers walked in and said, look what the world has done to you. You really think about, it's not about the fish, it's about doing the right thing, regardless of what anybody else says. So when you look at social media now and the platforms people look at, I mean, they're consistent. You go out to a restaurant now, you look at 5 or 6 people sitting at a table with their family. They're not talking to each other. They're down like this. You know, again, to me, that's the government institutionalizing people. So you sit there and you look at anything, what's happened? You've got this seed information going through your head, which is pointless. That's what I'm saying. Stay in your lane, do what you got to do. Don't worry about what others are doing, because that's not going to make an effect on your life. So, and that's going out to all the people that are watching this. I think, you know, you can do it, but you got to have the right people around you, and you've got to have that mindset.
It's never too late. And on that note of kind of surrounding yourself with people, I always think if you can't surround yourself with people, you've got to use this social media world to your advantage. You've got YouTube.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You've got YouTube. And I don't know, it doesn't really matter what age you are, but especially kind of 30 and below. If you're on Instagram, if you find yourself in a negative situation, you've got negativity around you, whether it is your parents, it might be your parents or your friends or whatever, get rid of everybody on your Instagram, everyone on your Twitter, and then follow people that are positive. So there's so many people out there like David Goggins and all these different people, whoever you want to follow, get rid of everybody on your list and then follow people that you are positive. So even if you are going on social media, even if you are watching YouTube or whatever it is, at least you're not constantly being fed with negativity. You're not drip fed that seed of doubt all the time in your head. At least you can look at it and there's a guy running at 4 a.m, doing a marathon at 4 a.m. every day or something. Now, I'm not saying go and do that, but but you could say, okay, that's automatically put me in a positive mindset, surrounding yourself with that positivity rather than going online and seeing your mate, I don't know, doing something negative, or like something's happened in Ukraine again or whatever it is, and it's negative all the time. And you're like, oh, for God's sake. And you do a deep exhale. If you wake up in the morning, you do a deep exhale in the morning, you've lost already. Trust me. If you wake up and you go, you've lost that day. You can change it around, but that's a sign.
That is up for debate, because if you're on a toilet and then that goes and you're like, well, oh, what a relief.
Yeah,
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But I know what you're saying.
Get your bowel movements checked.
It's not a bad thing.
But yeah, and you can use social media to your advantage. I mean, I use YouTube positively when I was feeling negative. Because the main reason I got into fitness was mainly through Arnold Schwarzenegger. The first gym I went to was a gym around here called Ironworks, and that made me obsessed with weights, gym, people, how positive you can be. The fact you can go into a place and change your day.
Yeah, but what you're saying now, it's become a drug for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like a heroin addiction, you know. Just like, but you can't get a better buzz than training. Feeling good. I don't care if you drink alcohol, if you take drugs, or you smoke, or whatever you do. You know, you can jump off a cliff, whatever you want to do. You're not going to get the same buzz as you do when you're fit. And you know that, I know that. You know, and a lot of top athletes know that. And people that have changed their lives. There's a guy that comes down the gym now, Liam. He's put a lot of weight on. I think he's lost about 8.
Yeah, I see that every day. He's lost loads of weight,
Unbelievable. And he feels good in himself. I talk to him every day and he's like, so how did he feel? How did he feel? How did he feel like, I don't know, a few months ago when, you know, he had all that weight, or a year ago, whatever it was, I don't know. But he's a lot better now, and he comes in, he chats. Again, it's about that communication, isn't it? That's the key. This is, as much as, we have social media, it's actually anti-social media, isn't it? Because nobody talks to each other anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan always moaning at me. He's saying, "Oh, Dad, you talk too much." I said, "Well, that's what we're made to do, really, to be fair, But no, but you really do
You'd be
talk
called a
too much.
keyboard warrior if you were doing that on social media, you would be.
Oh, my fingers have been burnt off.
No.
Yeah, but
So on that note, actually, funnily enough, sorry, what were you going to say?
Go on.
No, I was going to say, because we now work with the foundation, so Jordan's Next Gen Foundation.
Yeah.
So you've been headlining that for a couple of years now. So if people that don't know about the foundation, just explain what it is and where it came from.
Basically, it came from years ago when I was boxing and obviously training Jordan. And Jordan, he, by the way, if anybody don't know who Jordan is, Jordan Gill, former European Commonwealth champion, number 3 in the world at featherweight, and he's moved up a weight now. So he's been boxing for many years. Since he was 4 years old, he's now 28. Right. So he, as a young kid, he was always with me in the boxing club and trained him up until he was 17. Then he turned professional, and he had to move to Sheffield to get the training he needed, because we haven't got the facilities or I would say the facilities is more the case of the knowledge around here, and that's what I did, to go around and gain knowledge, because it's very rare, we don't produce many sports stars in this area, so you have to go further afield. And he decided to set something up, which is the Jordan Gill Foundation, JG Next Gen, to give children a chance. It's not about boxing. What it is about communicating. It's about life skills. It's about good manners, and giving the kids confidence. So they might go into amateur dramatics. They might go into sport. They might, just, be confident enough to get out and get a job. But that was what his main cause was. That's why he did it. That's what he done. So, and he's got me saying, "Dad, you're really good at doing this. You're great with kids. Go out there and do it." So, yeah. So he's got me running around. Yeah. Yeah.
So in terms of the importance of, especially a form of martial arts, I think you can get in that at any age, any form of boxing, martial art, 4 onwards probably?
I think so, yeah.
In terms of especially martial arts, because obviously you being in the boxing world, how do you think that has, over gymnastics, over any other form of over football, how do you think that is the best way of getting kids to learn? Because I've heard so many things of kids when they've started martial artists that they're the calmest adults ever, because that they've learned about losing. They've learned the correct way of winning and losing. There's no third place trophies. There's no, or like last place trophies. Sorry, not third place trophies. That's bronze. What a dickhead. There's no last place trophies in it. There's no, it's kind of very black and white in terms of you win or you lose. You have to put the work in to get the reward out, and you're physically kicking something safely, and you're learning that aggression needs to be controlled, and it's not all. So how do you think that is, or on your experience in it anyway, how do you think that that's benefited a lot of kids since you've helped them in terms of the martial arts stuff, or boxing? I won't call it martial arts, but
the boxing. I think, especially for men, when they get to 14, 15 years old, they've got a lot of testosterone running through their bodies, and they don't know how to control it. So the way things have been put, men have got to be macho and they got to be strong, and that, which is a total bullshit, really. But if you come in and you can channel your aggression, you can keep yourself cool, you can protect yourself, and it's a fitness. Mentally, you're feeling great, so you don't have to prove anything. You don't have this, this thing inside you saying, "Look, I'm a man, I'm this, and I'm cool, and I got to drive this, and I got to wear this watch," and that becomes irrelevant. You know yourself, and there's nothing more pure than boxing. When there's a one-on-one combat, it's like a game of chess. You just got to outmaneuver the other individual. It's not about how hard you can hit or how fast you move. It's how intelligent you are. It's not the tough people that make good boxers. It's the intelligent ones. So from my experience, when I've had kids come to me at a young age, parents have wrote letters to me saying that they're better at home. They have better manners. They're not so aggressive because they're calm. They're getting rid of that testosterone, that aggression. So then they can be calmer and cooler when they're tired. They're listening. It computes better. So their education is better. So again, going forward, like what you do, what anybody does, exercise is the key. So it's whether it be boxing, cricket, football, whatever it be, anything physical, weight training. That's what, in my experience, it helps. Physical activity helps a lot for your mental health. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, and that's with 37 years of experience. Yeah, it helps a lot.
I've noticed, especially with kind of, as I said, I keep saying martial arts, but I would say it's a martial art, the boxing. Would you say?
Well,
along with it, some sort of kicking, hitting.
Yeah, kick, punch. Yeah, it's very simple, really. Yeah.
As I said, I've kind of found that the people that are normally in it are more controlled in their life because, as I said, they are actually going through that stress of a situation. And this is why I think that things like ice baths and cold exposure are now being quite a popular thing because they work. And if you relate that to fighting and training, you're putting yourself through a controlled stress and your body's naturally reacting to it. I'm not saying in this world we're looking at...
That is proper stress though, isn't it? Because if you got like some Speedos on and you're getting a cold bath, you don't look too good, do you?
I know, brother, yeah. I know, brother.
That is stress, yeah, go on.
Yeah. But it's interesting because...
Going with a bulge, coming out with a vagina.
I can't stop thinking about a Speedo now. My mate wore Speedos to Ocean Beach in Ibiza. We went to Ibiza, it was quite funny. You really put me off my fucking train of thought.
I got you.
I literally gone. Anyway, okay. So I always teach people to kind of do things that we're designed for, because the entire reason we look the way we do is because it's designed to do something. So our fingers are the way they look because they're designed to pick things up. Our legs are the way they look because they're designed to hold us up and move. So in terms of our brain and our mind, it's designed to be controlled in an environment which is used to cold, used to heat, used to rain, used to different things. And they call it e-stress or eustress. So it's a stress. And if you go through that in a controlled way, at the other end of the stress, that's when you're going to get your happiness and your kind of clarity. So things like fighting, things like ice baths, things where you're putting yourself through a nice controlled, it's tough, not easy, but a controlled stress. At the other end, your brain thanks you for it because it's what it's designed to do. So if you are going through everything that you're designed to do physically, mentally, whatever, you're going to get the benefits from it. Social media were not designed to have that much information at one time. If you're on TikTok or Instagram Reels, like literally you're 10 seconds, 5 seconds, next, your brain can't keep up with it.
No.
And then if you're going to school and you're trying to learn, how are you going to have the attention span? Because you've kind of depleted all your dopamine, haven't you? So it's interesting. So things like martial arts and stuff, and boxing especially, if you've got a child, if you're listening to this and you've got any kids who are a bit kind of ADHD and they're not really settling and that they're screaming, crying, they're not happy, they're fidgety, then get them in a boxing gym. Get them in a martial
100%.
Get them in a martial arts scenario.
Yeah, because the thing is, I mean, like years and years ago, there was a kid that came to me and he had a speech impediment. And I think the parents, they spent about £20,000 on this kid, you know, and I was just out of accident. I went to a school parents' evening and I was chatting away to the mother and she said, oh, you know, we're struggling, you know, we spent 20. And I'm like, really? I said, why don't you bring him down to the boxing club? And he came and I had a line system which I got from Brendan Ingle, and it helped. And it's basically be ambidextrous, training to be ambidextrous with your hands, your feet, your eyes, and your voice, and which is hand, foot, eye, voice coordination. So he did this, and I worked with him for 3 years. He's fine. He's a salesman now, believe it or not.
Is he?
Yeah.
No, I was literally opposite of.
Exactly. You know, and you don't need to spend that sort of money. I mean, it's like prisoners. You know, I back in the day when I think it used to cost £3,000 a week for keeping a prisoner. You know, if you get them out and you get them into the boxing club, where again, you know, it don't cost that much, and you can reform them and make them better individuals, and it does work. It does work. So I think boxing clubs around the country, I mean, are doing a great job. I think, you know, especially the amateur side, they are helping so many people, and I just think, like, you know, don't think of it, because every person that comes into a gym or a workplace, as in keeping fit, you're not gonna, like when I had a gym, you're not gonna have everybody that comes in is going to be a world champion. That's not good. It's not realistic, is it? But when they come in, all of a sudden they're around people that don't drink, don't smoke, don't take drugs. They're around good people. And then when they feel confident and feel good in themselves, they're going to go on to, college, university. Then they're hopefully going to settle down. He or she will get married and have children or have a family, and then, have a good job, be self-employed or be employed, one way or the other. And that's all we want, isn't it? Just happiness. If you could bottle happiness, that to me is it. Having your family around you, being loved, being cared for, having friends. What more does someone want? But unfortunately, the way everything runs now, you got to have money, you got to have this, you got to have. I'm like, no, come on, mate. It's like I was talking to another individual the other day, and a person that's depressed, and they don't see. They don't see the fun in anything. They don't see. They only see things black and white. And I said to him, "What do you see?" I was looking at a fruit bowl. It was an orange. He said, "It's an orange." I said, "Yeah, but what do you see?" "It's an orange." I said, "Now listen to me. What do you see? What do you see?" He said, "You thick." He said, "It's an orange." I said, "Now ask me what I see." And he said, "What do you see?" I said, "I see an orange, but I can smell it. I can feel it. And then I'm imagining a beautiful Spanish woman picking this from a tree, looking good. I can open it. I can taste it. Now that orange, to me, is an example of life. There's magic there, but if you're only going to look at that as an orange, just like people do with life, they think, well, I've got to get up in the morning, I've got to go there, I've got to go there. Well, have magic in your eyes. Go and see things in a different way. Go and believe in yourself. Go and do things that you want to do. Like I said before, you have to do things. You've got to come out of your comfort zone. If you want to make it, you've got to come out. If you're going to be happy in your comfort zone, don't moan and groan 10 years down the line saying, well, they done that. Well, they were lucky. They weren't lucky. They did something in their life to put them in that position. Yeah. And people always only look at the end results when people have made it. They don't look at I say struggle, but I look at, and it's not a struggle, it's a journey, isn't it? And it's educating yourself. Yeah. And to be fair, like a lot of people, yourself, when they come here and train, or if I have someone on the pads, I can't do that. They see someone else do it, which are better, so I can't do that. Well, you name me one person on this planet, just one, that has done something the first time and got it absolutely perfect. Do you think Tiger Woods hit his putt and got that one hole just like that? He had to practice, didn't he? And you're talking about a top end fella. So everybody that does anything, you have to fail to learn. But it's how many times are you willing to fail to get where you want to get? Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's how I look at it. I just think, be happy, look for your own happiness in yourself, and through my experience, you really will find it in fitness. 100%.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. And it's essential. And I keep on about evolution and stuff, but we're designed to do it. So why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
So you can't expect to feel good through other means when you're not doing what you're meant to. That's how I always look at it anyway. If someone's listening to this now, doesn't matter what age they are, and they're on the sofa or whatever, or they're watching on YouTube, whatever they're doing, and they're not very motivated. They're that person that we talk about where they're quite unmotivated. They can't justify getting up off the sofa and exercising. They're a bit unhappy with their life. What's one thing do you think they could do right now without saying what I think you're going to say?
Has he got any tissues here?
I knew it.
All right, no, we're not going down that road.
Well, that might work for a little bit. Yeah. So if they're listening to this and they want to get moving, they want to do something about it, they want to change their life, but they just haven't got that go. Right. What do you think is one thing they could do right now to get them on track?
The best thing to do? The best thing to do is get a pen and a pad. Write down what you want in your life. you want a car, you want a house, you want to have a certain amount of money in your bank account, you want a beautiful man or woman. Write these things down, right? Then make a structure. How am I going to get this? It's not impossible. Nothing is impossible. Right, the house, how am I going to do it? Okay, I need to get a decent job. How are you going to get that decent job to pay for that house? Again, if you're physically fit, you've got to have so you go to the gym. Let's go to the gym. Let's get fit. Okay, mentally, you're going to become stronger now. Now, you're going to meet different people. So now, all of a sudden, you've got different choices coming at you. But if you're going to stay on that sofa and not do and write that list, because that's the start, that's the structure, you're not going to have them opportunities. So the first thing I say, write a list, see what you want, and then 12 months down the line, look at that list and see which one you've ticked off. If it's just a small step, as I say, I'd like to be from this weight, I'd like to lose this much. Whatever it'll be, it's all about writing it down and being accountable to yourself. That's what I'd say. That's first thing. Yeah. What would you reckon? Go on, I'm asking you the question, boss.
Oh, God. Something similar, but I think what most people want is a quick fix, I think. And you have to understand, I think there's not a quick fix in this world, but you can do things straight away to change your mentality to then go and do the pen and paper. So I do a daily systems thing with people. So 30 deep, you kind of have to do it in the day, but if you want an instant fix, 30 deep breaths, because you need to clear that brain fog. Brain fog is one of the things that stops people from even executing those plans. So you got to be careful not to make people lazier. So you can't give them tasks that are too severe. That's not severe, by the way, but you can't give them tasks that are too severe as a trainer, and you can't give them tasks that are not really going to take them anywhere. You have to find that kind of middle ground.
Yeah.
And the problem is with most trainers is they say, right, okay, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, but they'll say, right, this is your starting point here where you can't be asked to get off the sofa, but you want to do all these things. And I'm now going to tell you to go to the gym 5 times a week, and this is a food plan I want you to have. Now, it will work. If they have that, of course it will work. But can they do it? Chances are probably not. So I tend to get people to do things that get the brain just a little bit of that fog cleared, and then get them to do a task like that. So I'll get them to do like 30 deep breaths, like quite deep breaths. And then because you've charged your body, your brain of oxygen, sorry. I nearly said ecstasy then. Christ, that would work.
That's made someone happy.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, take loads of ecstasy. If you charge your brain of oxygen, you think clearer. And even if it's not a long-term solution, you could then say, right, okay, now I get that pen and paper out. And then I start to say, now I'm a bit clearer on what I've got, on what I want. Do you see what I mean? So it's exactly the same thing, but I try and gap it a bit further sometimes. But that's kind of, you've got to be careful not to, as I said, give them too much.
Keep it as simple as you can and make it realistic, because it's like anything. If you're trying to get over a line, you think, oh, I've got to get to that, and you get there, over a period of time, that line becomes further and further and further. And when you look back, don't be because when people lose weight, they think, oh, I need to get to there, I need to get there. Then all of a sudden they put the weight back on and they go all the way, and all they look at as their end product, they think, oh, I used to do this. But don't, start again. But when you get to that point, be happy, be satisfied, because people are always, oh, I need to do more. No, look back at where you were and you'll appreciate where you are.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that for me is the most important thing. Be happy day to day. Because if you look at things in the future, which people do, don't they? People do. They think, oh, I wish I could do this. And then you can look at the past, look at the failures. But you can't change what's back there. You can't predict what's going to happen out there. But what you can do is make your day the best it can be. And that's, for me, that is the key thing. I mean, like I live by it, and I really mean this. I get up in the morning, right? And what I'm going to say. But I get up in the morning, and I'm really glad I'm alive. And I mean that because all my family have died in their 50s. I've got no family now, apart from obviously my kids and my wife and, in-laws. but my real family, what I came over with, that came over to this country, they're all gone. So the only person I have is my uncle's daughter. I call her my sister. So she's the only family really I do have, and her 2 kids. But anyway, I get up in the morning, and I'm really happy I'm alive. So right, great. Second thing I think of is, who am I going to help today? That is one thing I always think. Well, who am I going to help? And the third thing I think is, who am I going to make laugh? And I fulfill my obligation every day. I will not be able to fulfill them 2 obligations, the last 2, if I can't wake up. I'm sorry about that. I'll be a dead man.
Unless somebody wants you dead and they find it very...
yeah. But otherwise, and that's how I look at life every day.
Yeah.
Help and make someone laugh.
And that as well, I think, adds to what we're trying to say about that goal planning, because that goal doesn't have to be like, I want a new car, I want this, I want that. It could just be every day I want to make someone laugh.
Yeah.
It? And then if you do that every day, 365 days of the year, you might have a day off, you never know. 365 days of the year. And then the next thing you know, you actually, you might have a better job because you've attracted more people. You've got better friends. You're happier. You're slimmer. You're trimmer.
Yeah.
So it's just insane, isn't it, how that works?
Listen, life is all about communicating. You don't know what opportunities will come about if you say yes. That's all you have to do. If someone says you, come on, let's go and play squash, you can say no. Fair enough. You're still going to be in that same position, but you could say yes, and you go down there. You might meet a woman. You might meet a man. You might meet someone who's in a different industry and think, oh, do you know what? I wouldn't mind doing that. You might get a job opportunity. You don't know. You might meet a new friend. You don't know. If you say yes, opportunities arise. That makes your life better, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I think it's important to know that you can change your day at any point. So the moment you wake up, I'm going to be like Arnold here, there's 24 hours in a day, whatever.
Yeah.
But as soon as you wake up, you have a shit day, we all do, you can change that by the end of the day. And it's so nice to, like, if you've woke up and had a bad day and then you go to bed at the night and you're watching telly or whatever and you've had the best day after that, isn't that nice to think, I did that, I changed that day, nobody else changed it for me, I changed it. I think that's a nice note to talk on as well.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I fucking changed that day.
Yeah. That's good though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
good.
good.
It's really good.
Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you, James.
Boom.
Brilliant. All right.
Bye, everyone.
See you later. Yeah.
Thank you for watching the video. If you'd like to see more videos and content like this, then subscribe to all of my social media platforms at Nixon's Training and Health. If you would like me to cover any specific topics related to health and fitness, then pop me an email or comment below on the video and I'll cover it as best as I can.